Independence is very important for us because independence is our most important human right. Without independence, my fellow friends, there is no human rights. This is the history. This is what happened to us, especially to our Uyghur people. So, I always want to tell the truth, what we want, not what the people of the United States want to hear from us, not the people of the world want to hear from us, not what the United Nations wants to hear from us. Let's show, demonstrate what we want first.
Okay. Third one is independence for East Turkistan, Tibet, Inner Mongolia, and Taiwan. O'rganlik. Sharqiy Turkiston, Tibet, Ichki Mongoliya, Tayvanga mustaqillar. Yeah. Okay.
She wants to have translated into Mandarin.
Yeah, I'm doing it. That's exactly what I'm doing. Be patient. Okay. 东土耳其斯坦、西藏、内蒙古与台湾独立。
我说一句啊，
不，你同意不同意？我们没有时间在这儿。
We must join our effort under one condition. The condition is, if only we agree on our principles, if only we support our just cause, freedom, democracy, and independence. As one of the representatives of Eastern Turkestan. So my point is that before we go further in discussion how to respond to the question addressed yesterday by our fellow American friends, let me clarify something. Do we work together, especially with our Chinese friend? If they do agree by saying, yes, regardless of my position can be right. Pro-democracy activist, well known or less known, or just humble Chinese citizen. Yes, I do support your cause. Our cause includes democracy, freedom, and independence. Independence is very important for us because independence is our most important human right. Without independence, my fellow friends, there is no human rights. This is the history. This is what happened to us, especially to our Uyghur people. First, support our cause, freedom, democracy, and independence, especially the independence, right now. And then let's work together. Let's take a step correctly and firmly so that the building, the bridge, what we are going to cross towards the democracy is start, not to collapse. Genuine autonomy was offered to us by Kuomintang, nationalist China, especially during the war. During the war between nationalist China and Uyghur people, from between 1945 to 1950. They lied to us. It didn't work out. Then Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region was given to us. Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region also failed. It is not true. So I just want to ask first time, and maybe the last time, do you support our independence movement? As one of the freedom fighters, my activism is well known in the United States. My method of fighting for freedom and for independence is non-violence, in peaceful way. That's why I have credibility before members of Congress, senators, many journalists. I have credibility. So I always want to tell the truth, what we want, not what the people of the United States want to hear from us, not the people of the world want to hear from us, not what the United Nations wants to hear from us. Let's show, demonstrate what we want first.
Last night, for several hours, first of all, thank you very much for what you're saying. Last night there was a discussion with Tim Cooper, myself, and members of the Chinese delegation. And they wrote a statement which calls for, and they need to present the statement, not I, that calls for the self-determined, recognizes the unconditional self-determination of all peoples, including Uyghurs, Tibetans, Mongolians, as it relates to the UN Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. What we witnessed last night was, for me, was total, complete sincerity on their part. What I think we need to do, what Mr. Toomey was talking about, is we can break into two groups and discuss these issues and just write down 2 paragraphs about what do we want to work together on, what are our statement of principles, and then read them and see if we can agree on some common language. But I think that you make a lot of sense. I wouldn't want to work with another group either if they weren't sensitive to our demands. But I think to get to that, there has to be some dialogue. My suggestion is that
we have to educate ourselves.
Yes.
We have to, otherwise we cannot achieve anything.
I would suggest that we stick with the process. We don't have much time. We get into 2 groups. We have one person in the group take notes. All right? And just come up with the language that you think we can agree on as a free Asian alliance based on some of these concepts. Does that make sense? Because we have, on this side of the room, we have Chinese and we have Uyghur and Tibetans and Mongolians. We have the same kind of representation here. And then we'll come together and draft a brief statement together.
Okay. So,
and it's our dream that after this is over, we can have a press conference and announce to the world, and especially the Chinese government, that there's a much higher level of unity in this struggle.
yes, of course, there's unity. There's no second about that.
Go ahead. That's just my suggestion.
Exactly. Özünüzü idare qilish haqida Birleşken Milletler'in teşkilatının çıkargan yani kararnamesi var. Qanday millet özünüzü idare qilish lazım degan bu noktada emas sadece. Sizning biz ovozingni olmoqchi emaski, qaysi maqsadga degan vaqtda faqat sizlar bu Xitoy demokrasiyachilikdan chiqqan qonun emas u. Dunyodagi boshqa bir millatdan chiqqan qonun emas, faqat Birleşken Milletler tarafından çıkarılan kararnamaya kol koygan bulsunlar. Fakat muş vakitten itibaren kaçan düşünün birlik işleyimiz dediklerimiz eğer seninki, Şarkı Türkistan'ın Karatan'ınki arzusu, muhteriyet olgan olsa, muhteriyet kol koyuyoruz, kuvvetli. Eğer müstakillik olgan olsa, müstakillikin ne? Biz onunla kuvvetleyimiz. Dese, biz hazırdan tartib, meyli o Amerika'da, Xitay'ın vekili, bence Beijing Şun olsun, Wangdan olsun, China'nın prezidenti olsun, biz şunu bilen işleyimiz. Eğer bunda bulmayırken ya, onu keyinki mesele koymayız. Yana patıvakada dostuluk durmayız. Yana akçak davakta, o vaxtıda biz oynayıp bakamayız dese, biz tarihte, yani senelerce vaktimiz boşuna ötüp geldi, aldırıp geldi. Şunun için her qanday qadamni mustahkam oladi. Sig'ilib tushadigan bo'lmaydi. Minä demek ki oğlanım şu an. Bunu en azından koyayım. Okay.
We need to know that it must be representative. We need representatives of each group within each group, or representative of each community within each of the two groups.
Where's Rashard?
Qo'shilganlar qo'llarni ko'taringlar, qo'shilmaydiganlar qo'llarni ko'tarmang. Shuning asosan ma'nimiz. Ularmi? Anakin, okay. The process is gonna be that this group has come up with this statement, and we're gonna go through one by one, and if people agree with this, say yes, just raise your hand. If you disagree, do not raise your hand. And we're gonna take the vote. If it's majority votes for this, we're gonna go with this language. If the minority, then we're not gonna go. If there is questions, ask me, and we're gonna change. If there is any need to amend or change, we're gonna do that. Everybody. It's not just no group right now. Everybody, use your democratic legal right. You don't have to raise your hand, but it is necessary. Okay. You know what? OK， 就是刚才在这儿一组他们写出来的以下的这些条件，就是现在我们要一个零吗 ？Freedom for all people。有没有人不同意 ？Anybody disagree？ 我是买Go。100%。İkincisi, okay? Democracy for all people. Bарлық халыққа демократия, okay? Демократия. Okay. Демократия, талдаш құқығың бар, билет тасташ құқығың бар, президенттің сайлаш құқығың бар. Okay? Қытай тоқымсаң болды. Okay. 就是democracy for all people 是全部人民主。中国人、维族人、西藏人、蒙古人，全部人就是享有民主权、民主。OK。Anybody disagree？ 不同意有吗？还是麦当劳爸吗？有。
看到了节都来不及。
Okay, changing. Okay. Third one is independence for East Turkistan, Tibet, Inner Mongolia, and Taiwan. O'rganaylik. Sharqiy Turkiston, Tibet, Ichki Mongoliya, Tayvanga mustaqildir.
She wants to have translate into language.
Yeah, I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing. Be patient. Okay. 东土耳其斯坦、西藏、内蒙古与台湾独立。
我说一句啊，
不，你同意不同意？我们没有时间在这儿讨论。
我说一句好不好
？OK。
这个东西是我起草的哈，《世界华人和体育宣言》。
I'm not translating. No, one second, please. We have come a long way here as a united family. We have a moderator who has a process. We must follow his process. We've all agreed upon it. That is called democracy. We've agreed on a majority vote. It's majority wins in this room. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, we have to go on. This is number 4. Number 4. Self-determination for Uyghurs, Tibetans, Mongols, Taiwanese, leading to independence. Okay?
What's your question?
Question. Why is the Chinese also included under that self-determination?
Okay, that's a very good question. Why should they self-determine? They have their own land, their own government.
They don't have their own government. They don't have their own government.
No, this is majority rule vote. We're not, this is majority rule vote right now. That's the process we agree on. We're going to stay with
I
that.
have a question. Why is the Chinese included among that?
No,
Excuse me, the rulers of CCP, the Chinese government, are Chinese themselves. They don't understand that, okay? If they overthrew that government, Taiwan'dagi mustaqillikni qo'lga keltirib chiqqan, o'zining taqdirini o'zi belgilash.这是维吾尔人、西藏人、南族人、台湾人有权独立的自决权。
Objection? Two objections.
我同意自决权，因为呢，
Thank you very much.
No comment. Two objections.
Thank you very much.
自决权，听我说，我用卑微价格来支持你们这个中共之二是最大的卑微价格，最有权威了，你们要给我点空间，否则的话，我当时就是法律的话。
Ms. Watt. Yeah, I need, I'm sorry, 1 second.
Okay, number 5, respect for human rights. İnsan hak huquqiga bo'lgan hurmat qilish. İnsanning haq huquqlarini qanday inson bo'lishdan qat'iy nazar, qanday millat bo'lishdan qat'iy nazar, tadbirkor hurmat qilish. 尊重人权。Anybody disagree？ 我是麦当劳吗？有不同意吗？你不同意？你不同意尊重人权？
同意这个number one。
Okay, number 6 is freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. Söz erkinliği. Söz erkinliği. Okay? 演讲权，言论自由，very good，言论自由，就是你想说什么都可以。Anybody disagree？ 我是麦当劳吗？有不同意的吗？没有。Number 7, freedom of religion. Anybody disagree? 我是麦当劳吗？有不同意的吗？ Okay, number 8, recognition of self-determination is the precondition for cooperating with Chinese democracy groups or organizations. Okay, bu deganlar Xitoyning demokratik tashkilotlari o'sha Uyg'urning, Tibetning, Mongolning yoki boshqaniki o'zining taqdirini o'zi belgilash huquqini hurmat qilishi, e'tirof qilishi, ular bilan birlikda hamkorlashishni oldirib chiqyapti. Bu bo'lmasa hamkorlashmayman. OK， 这是中国民运人士与中国民运人士合作的先决条件是承认我们的自决权。Anybody disagree？ 我是麦当劳帮忙。
Americans disagree. Oh, the right American. Which one?
Okay, one very last, and I guess one of the most important. Okay, we will work peacefully, okay, peacefully, and with respect, for one another, meaning Chinese, dissidents, Tibetans, Uyghurs, Mongolians, Taiwanese, okay? In order to promote the above stated principles, promote these principles. To'qqizinchi, bilganlik, biz tinchlik bilan bir-birini hurmat qilgan asosda o'sha yuqori prinsiplarni ilgari surish uchun bir-birimiz bilan hamkorlashib xizmat qilamiz. 平和尊重的方式，彼此尊重的方式，就是推广以上的这些原则，推广以上这个总理8个原则，这是第9条。OK。Anybody disagree？ 或者买到老板吗？有不同意的吗？
这一宣言所有的都非常完整。第8条已经重复了3条民族自决权。假如你让我把这个贝克价推行的话，你就要给我一点面子，不要说的太明显而遭到很多人反对，使我这个贝克价完成不了你的愿望和理想，你变成成功的。所以呢，去掉第3条，保留第8条，可不可以？不可以的话，这个世界华人联合体是我发起的，我就没有办法支持你们的行动。
我们不是，我们只是你。
我这个贝克价不支持。
在是民主方式的话，你一旦投票同意原则，它就是原则。OK？ 对。这不能因为
这是第8条。
你刚才举手同意的很多东西都同意了。
我第3条是有商缺，有3条商缺，我们结盟是2个以上，现在变成世界华人联合体和东土耳其斯坦。假如那不是
东土耳其斯坦 ，We have Mongols here, we have Tibetans here, we have Taiwanese here. It's only Uyghurs and Chinese are there.
No, we Tibetans. No. 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and countrymen, lend me your ear. What we've done today is the people in this room, which represent many different ethnic minorities, which represents members of the Chinese democracy movement, doesn't mean that you voted on behalf of your organization. It means that you voted on behalf of the Free Asia Conference. As a participant, you can take what we voted back to your respective organizations, and they will either endorse it or they won't endorse it. They may want to make some changes. That's the democratic process. But what we're saying is this is what we believe has happened this week, and this is what we think we need to be brothers and sisters to work together.
Let me finish the translation. Okay. Hazır bakın çok sıkılmam degine. Hazır hem de biz niyede otağanlar erbimiz bir qancha tashkilotlarga vakilligimiz, bir qancha millat demak vakilligimiz. Endi bizning bu yerda bugun qo'shig'imiz faqat erkin Osiyo birlik uchun prinsip yoqish uchun. Hargiz bu Uyg'urning bir tashkilotida bo'lmasa tanilgan u emas. Bu bugun qo'shilgandan keyin har biri o'shni kelib o'z tashkilotlariga berib, qayta muzokara qilib, qayerga qo'shildi, qayerga qo'shilmaydi, qayerni o'zgartirdi, shuni qaytib berdi. Undan keyin kelib aniq hammalar qo'shildi, chiqishni iborat. Yani shu shuna bu demokratiya degan shu. Ayni tutib mandadan tanlagan shu. Aniq qaytib berdi, qaysi tashkilotlar, qaysi millat, davlatning vakillari o'tirib o'zi muzokara yana qolgan tuz bayon ustida va o'zgartirdi. Bu shu.
The Chinese Communist leadership must understand the fact that human beings cannot endure oppression forever. It is time that the Chinese Communist leadership realizes that the Uyghurs' will to live with dignity cannot be silenced through ruthless measures. Dialogue is the foundation for better understanding, cooperation, and peaceful coexistence. Trust cannot develop without dialogue, and there could be no peaceful dialogue, change without dialogue, without trust. The Chinese Communist leadership must immediately start a dialogue with the Uyghur representatives at home to diffuse the rising tensions in Eastern Turkestan peacefully and to the mutual satisfaction of all sides. Today, dialogue between the Chinese Communist leadership and the Uyghurs has become vitally important. So thus a dialogue between the Chinese Communist leadership and the Uyghurs will further have a strong positive impact not only on Tibetan inner Mongolian people, but also on the people of Taiwan. The democratic-minded Chinese people living at home and abroad must stage a worldwide campaign to pressure the Chinese Communist leadership to stop the ethnic cleansing against the Uyghurs. The ethnic cleansing against Uyghurs is an embarrassment to the democratic-minded Chinese people who claims to have a history, culture, and civilization of 5,000 years. Such a support will be perceived by the Uyghurs that the democratic-minded Chinese peoples are not only struggling for a democratic China, but at the same time that they respect the basic rights, including the rights of self-determination of the Uyghurs. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, the international community, especially the Central Asian governments and NGOs, must influence, persuade, and convince the Chinese Communist leaders to start a dialogue with the representatives of Eastern Turkestan before it is too late. A major conflict in Central Asia is also not in their interest. They must reverse the general feeling among the world's oppressed that their voice can only be heard only when amplified by methods of international terrorism. Thank you.
İmkanlarında kahraman sözbette de bu dört yıl yapılan fazla mümkün emez hem yaxşı bu şu azaliyet imkan degan sözne İngilizce'nin bu tercüme kılıp her bir olanın olanı da bir beş kere bu daim bu şu işte kılmayacak hem de şunda basımı nayt kıskaraklar çünkü nayt kıskaraklar zaman istiyor erkin kan başta başı aldık en avval aldık Uygurlar biz şundan meyvanlar şundan nişte suydan bir kalar tarixten bir Uygurun karşısında durup bugünkü günde Uygurlar nima üçün şunda zorluq tayinib azdı Xitoyga qarshi turdi bu nima üçün tarixiy sabab nima ana bu tarixdan başlayır masalan şu 790 yılları bu şu Xitoydan Uygurlar etken bir baş elçisi şu çağda Uygurlar nima degan güzellik Uygurların ibadetlerinden nimergen yaxşı, Uygurlarda açıkçılık yok, Uygurun hükümeti, Uygurun bayları, Uygurun tembelleri pul verirdi. Bu yakında hiçbir şey şunda tinişliğini söyleyen, şunda güzel halık gerek. Şunda yazdan bu Xitay'nın baş elçisi şu çatı şarkı Turkistan'da. Muştunda sözler, şu çatı Uygurların kanda tinişliğini söyleyen, kanda bir pandoz, kanda açıkçılık siz şu çatı altın sözler etti. Anlakin, bu şu bolup mu, 1700 yılın ahırları, anlakin bu Manchu imperiyasi Uyg'urlar hujum qilib kirgan. Undan keyin yana o'sha Angliya hukumati bo'lib shu Char Rossiyani o chaqda Angliya Hindistonni besib olgan vaqtda Hindiston Angliyaning bir mustamlikasi. Shu chaqda Angliya o'sha Char Rossiyani besib kirib, bo'lib Sharqi Turkistonni, undan keyin Tibetni, undan keyin Hindiston besib kirib, Angliyaliklarni qo'llab chiqarib Shunun nazarda Angliya hukumati o'sha Angliya bankasining puli bilan Manchu imperiyasiga pul berib, Manchu imperiyasini qurollantiruvchi orqali Sharqi Turkiston bu qayta hujum qilgan. Shu jarayonda Sharqi Turkistonda bu manjular qayta besilib, 1884-yilda Sharqi Turkistonning ismiga rasmiy Xitoycha Xinjiang yoki yangi mustamlika deb nom bergan. Undan keyin 1911-yili bu Sun Jong-san o'sha Xitoyning millatchilari o'qitgandan beri Sun Jong-san shu chaqda va'da bergan Uyg'urlarning o'zining taqdirini o'zi belgilash huquqi bor, Uyg'urlarning mustaqil bo'lish huquqi bor. Chunki Uyg'urlar Xitoylar emas, Uyg'urlarning territoriyasi ayrim territoriya, Manchu imperiyasi besib olgan bir territoriya. Shuna Uyg'urlarning o'zining taqdirini o'zi belgilash huquqi bor deb degan. Chaqda shu va'da bergan. Uzun o'tmay Sun Jong-san o'lgandan keyin Jiangxi degan Xitoy Undan keyin bu va'dani inkor qilib, Sharqi Turkiston tarixdan buyon Xitoyning bir qismi. Uyg'urlar mustaqil bo'lishi bo'lmaydi degan va'dani hammasini qoldirib tashlab, undan keyin shu Sharqi Turkistonni qurolli qisib turishni istay orqali albatta. Undan keyin 1931-yilgi Xitoy Kompartiyasining 10-qurultayida Xitoy hukumati shu chaqda Mao'zedong qatorliqlar Uyg'urlar shu chaqda va'da bergan, Uyg'urlar ayrim millat biz Uyg'urlar kommunist Xitoy o'qitgan chaqda Uyg'urlar o'z mustaqil bo'lish huquqi bor, o'zining taqdirini o'zi belgilaydi. Agar ular mustaqil davlat qurmaydi, bo'ladi, o'zining taqdirini o'zi belgilasa bo'ladi. Agar ular Xitoyning bir qismi bo'lib federatsiya qurishni xohlasa, bu bo'ladi deb shunda va'da bergan. Lekin 1949-yilda Xitoy hukumati Kompartiyasi o'qitgandan keyin bu va'dalar yo'qolib ketdi. Bizning prezidentlar, bizning ministerlarning saytlarini o'tadi, xo'ralik qildi, bisloqi shuningdek 1955-yilda yag'an avtonomiyani berdi. Shundan yoqi biz bu shunday qildik. Uyg'urlarning soni ozib qoldi, Xitoylar jiq kirdi, o'zining Xitoylarni, undan keyin hozir holatda Uyg'urlar ya Xitoyga qarshi kurash qilish yo hayot mamot aslan qoldi hozircha shunga uyg'urlar yo xitoyga qarshi kurash qilish kerak yo yo'qolish kerak shunda holatda lekin uyg'urlar erkin kamsizlar deb uyg'urlar tarixda uyg'urlar shuni his qildiki isyon ko'tarish orqali yoki to'g'ri kurash qilish orqali bu tinchlikqa bo'lib mustaqillikqa erishish bir qadar tez bo'lib bugungi dunyoda shu zo'rliqsiz kurash orqali inqilob qilish kerak xalqaro bo'lib xalqaro jamiyatning qo'llashiga erishish uchun terrorizm emas balki zo'rliqsiz kurash bo'lib dialog qilish orqali dialog faqat dialog qilgan bu tinchliklar naslni hal qilib bo'ldi endi buni albatta xitoy hukumatiga cho'qim sakrab tushish kerak buni cho'qim uyg'urlar bilan dialog ilib berish kerak shuni so'zida lekin xalqaro jamiyatning uyg'urlarning shu inqilobni harakatini davosini yaqindan qo'llab yordam qilishni chin ko'ngilni so'raydigan so'zlar bilan shu qisqacha bayon keyin to'liq tekstni tarjima qilgandan keyin ko'ra olasiz to'liq
他基本上一开始呢就回顾了一下这个孙中山时，我进来的时候我就感觉他讲到孙中山的这个当时给维族人有一个协议，他认为孙中山觉得呢维族人应该还有这个别的这个少数民族啊，维族、藏族和蒙古族呢，当时提出一个五族共和的概念，就是说这其他4个民族呢都是有自己的自治权的。在1925年孙中山先生去世之后呢，蒋介石继位，蒋介石呢就说基本上背弃了这个原则，所以他们维族人对这一点记得还是非常清楚的。那再之后的话，就说共产党来的就不用说了，所以他就是基本上跟我们汉族人就是遭受的灾难是一样的，甚至可能在某一方面还要更残酷一些。他讲话的过程中呢，一直强调的是这个和平和非暴力的原则，就说他们认为呢，就说在一个受压迫的民族呢，用暴力的这种方式呢是无助于解决问题的，所以他们认为应该坚持非暴力和平的原则，能够最终呢能够希望跟中国政府呢通过对话达成一种解决的办法。他其次呢还呼吁这个中亚的国家呢，能够跟中国政府施加压力，帮助解决这个东土耳其斯坦的这个问题。最后他希望跟这个汉族，我们这个汉族的能够，尤其受共产党打击的这些汉族能够精诚合作，能够早日推翻共产党的统治。非常抱歉，我可能这个比较太简短了，就说好，谢谢。
Mr. Chen has to leave very.
他翻译成英文。我首先跟大家报个歉，因为我要赶路啊，所以我得打断一下大家的程序。
I'm sorry for the traffic. I need to be on schedule.
其实刚才我要讲的意思呢，前面几个朋友都已经讲了，所以我就急着要赶路。
Basically, what I'm going to say is already being covered by those friends.
很重要一点就是说，我们大家要争取自己的独立，我们有这个权利。不管你是跟汉族不同的民族，你还是汉族的一部分，你都有要求独立的权利。
There's one critically important point that I want to make is that every race, every ethnic group, you do have the right to claim independence.
但是我们大家也都知道，这个世界呢是个比较现实的世界。我们要争取自己的权利呢，我们还要看看现实。
But we all know that this is a realistic world. Before we go ahead to claim independence, we have to be facing the reality.
我想有2个最大的现实要注意到，就是第一，现在中国呢是统治在一个完全不讲理的政府的手里。
There are 2 aspects of reality. Number one is China is ruled by a irrational regime.
它完全不讲理，你怎么能通过讲理来达到自己的独立或者减少压迫的这样的目的呢？
So basically, there's no way that you can negotiate with an irrational regime.
所以刚才我们好几个朋友都提到，我们的第一个目标，不管你现在最终抱有什么目标，我们的第一个目标，先得要推翻这个共 共产党的一党专政。
So whatever your final goal is, the first priority for us is to overthrow the communist regime.
我们先要在中国呢建立起这样一个讲道理的、能尊重别人权利的这样一个政府，然后我们才可以坐在那儿讲道理，通过讲道理达到我们其他的目的。
The first step we have to go is to create a government that respects basic human rights.
第二层的意思呢，就是说，当然我们每个人从理论上，我们每个民族都有独立的权利。
In theory, every ethnic group has the right to claim independence.
但是昨天呢，我们在晚上跟几个新疆人在一起讨论这个问题的时候，大家说有很多的汉族人，他们就是不能理解我们的权利。
Last night when I was having a private conversation with a few friends, Uyghur friends, they complained to me that they didn't understand why the majority of the Chinese couldn't understand the concept of independence.
甚至是一些很有学问的留学生，按理说他们应该很懂道理，但是他们就是不能理解我们少数民族也有自己的权利。
Even some overseas Chinese students with higher educations, they still couldn't understand the importance of independence.
我们大家要建立一个民主的政治，这个民主政治一个最基本的道德，就是说你要求别人尊重你的权利，你也得学会尊重别人的权利。
Our goal is to create a constitutional democracy where each and everyone's opinions should be respected. If you want other people's respect, you got to respect other people's opinion in the first place.
除了这个，我们还要看到现实，就是说，在共产党的几十年的统治下，很多的汉族人，包括很多的少数民族，都被训练的不懂得尊重别人的权利。
We also need to face another reality that over the 50 years of a communist rule, most of the Han people, and also some of the Uyghur people, they lost the conscience that to respect the rights of independence.
我们现在在从事呢是一场争取自由的政治运动，那么就不能不考虑到这种现实。
What we are fighting for is a movement for freedom. So we need to face this reality.
要考虑到大多数的汉族老百姓，他们还不是非常懂得这些道理，他们还在受到共产党的欺骗，这是一个现实。
We need to face the reality that the massive majority of the Chinese people have been brainwashed. It takes a long time for us to educate them.
所以我们在确定各种政策、确定各种口号的时候，要充分考虑到10几亿的汉族老百姓的这种思想状况。
So whenever we write some slogans, our policies, we need to bear in mind that there are 1.2 billion Chinese behind us.
这样才能使我们的共同的事业呢减少阻力。
This is the only way that can make our job a little bit easier.
还有第三层的意思，当然大家可以不同意，可以慢慢考虑。
There's a third level of meaning. I'm not sure you agree with me.
也就是当我们最终建立起一个民主的政治的时候，当我们能够很好的安排各族人民的生活，包括互相尊重权利的时候，这个时候独立不独立是需要大家重新考虑的一个问题。
That is, after we created a constitutional democracy, whether we need to go forward for democracy, for independence, it could be completely a different issue.
我们看看欧洲人打了几百年的仗，绕了一大圈儿，现在大家学会了互相彼此尊重以后，大家觉得还是合在一起比较好一点。
Let's look at the people in Europe. After hundreds of years of fights and conflicts, and finally they realized that it's more important to respect each other.
当然，到这个时候，如果我们说我们就是不要跟你们汉族人合在一起，我们就是要单独过，那没有关系，我们会尊重你大家的权利。
Of course, by that time, even if you stubbornly claim that we don't want to live with the Chinese people, we want to claim independence, it's okay for me.
至少我会尽量去说服汉族人要尊重别人的权利。
At least what I can do is to persuade the Chinese people to respect other people's basic rights.
我希望我们已经在一起生活了很多年的这各个民族在一起呢，不管我们是和也好，是分也好，总归我们不要闹到打起来，不要闹到杀人的地步。
What I wish is that, based on the fact that we have lived together for so many years, the worst I can wish is that we don't start a war.
我们看看苏联，看看东欧这些国家的教训。共产党垮台以后，很多过去的矛盾爆发出来，大家不能够和和气气坐下来谈，最后打得一塌糊涂。
Look at the miseries of the Eastern European people and the people in the republics of the former Soviet Union. After the collapse, the people are fighting each other. They're basically living in misery.
最后杀来杀去，杀到最后怎么办呢？你还得坐下来谈判。那么为什么要死了很多人以后再谈判呢？
At the end of the killings, finally they will realize that the best way to solve it is to sit down and talk. If we can solve this problem by a dialogue, why do we have to start killing in the first place?
当然，我们都受了很多的压迫，受了很多的苦，包括很多人家破人亡，都有一腔的愤怒。
Of course, every one of us are angry because basically every one of us had a family which was persecuted by the regime.
但是我们不要彼此愤恨，我们要知道这些给我们造成这些压迫都是共产党的专制统治造成的。我们要把那个仇恨面向共产党，不要我们彼此之间仇恨。
But we should be clear that these hatreds shouldn't be directed towards each other. We should redirect our hatred towards the communist regime.
我觉得我们可能比苏联和东欧人处理的要好一点，我们最后不会闹到流血的地步。今天我们就团结在一起，我想我们以后还会一直这样团结下去。
I feel we can solve this problem better than the former Soviet Union. Since we are sitting together now, I'm sure we can sitting together in the future.
就像我们这种团结呢，不是说我们没有矛盾，但是呢，我们就像一家人一样，兄弟两个一样。如果有矛盾，我们关起门来，哪怕打得头破血流，但是我们在外边一致对外。
Our solidarity doesn't mean that we don't have a problem. But even if we have a problem, we close the door, we negotiate behind the doors. But towards the communist regime, we should be united.
我们一致对外的那个敌人就是共产党。
Our only enemy is the Communist Party. 谢谢大家。Thank you.
我得赶路，对不起大家，我得赶路去了。
Sorry, Mr. We need to leave. He's on a tight schedule.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'm not going to really go deep into the past, nor into the future, but try to say a few things at this very moment. Yes, as nationalism, you can even fight about semantics, how we use the word nationalism. Especially when we put in our perspective, we can have a lot of different and especially when we talk about East and West, we can divide ourselves even further. I'll just pick one thing as a Tibetan. I think nationalist feeling is something that has been brought up by force up in Tibet. We like it now? Brought to us.
Part of, supposedly part of China. However, Taiwan or Formosa in the ancient name, Taiwan was not included or recognized or even governed by China before 17th century. You know, there were a series of dynasties in Chinese history, and all those Chinese histories did not govern Taiwan island. There were not Chinese people on this island. There were indigenous people. So where were they from? We're still studying it. And okay, in the 17th century, the Dutch people.
Taiwan time, let me suggest that there is a two-track strategy that I, as an outsider, can imagine in dealing with me try it. On the political track, continue to press the right of self-determination, which has such resonance with the masses of repressed people and which has on occasion had revolutionary consequences. But on the legal track, focus on rights that are more substantive and better defined, and where the institutions for enforcement are more likely to be responsive. One quick word about what those institutions might be. It seems to me that the United Nations here is a fair weather friend at best. The United Nations has contributed to the legal malaise around self-determination because it is very selective when it uses the right of self-determination, especially in small or strategic places, or places that some permanent member of the Security Council takes personally. In those settings, self-determination is much less likely to be taken seriously. The United Nations has been so silent, so frequently in the face of identity group crises that I wonder what they meant by self-determination in the first place. And so, but on the other hand, there is the Human Rights Committee within the United Nations that has been somewhat more responsive to the interests of minority and indigenous groups or to repressed people, but almost never in terms of self-determination, but rather in terms of these other articulated rights that can protect identity group identity. I'm very sorry that I have to leave. I'm already late for another human rights conference, almost 15 minutes ago, so I apologize for that. But I have great faith in the power of the human rights idea, even if I'm somewhat skeptical about self-determination per se. Human rights is stronger than totalitarianism, it's stronger than the market, it's even stronger than rock and roll. So I wish you luck.
En başta Avrupa devletleri, Hongkong, Asya, Afrika devletlerinin bir müstemlik kalan. Ondan bu özün tadını öz belgeleşti. En başta şu halkara kanun başarılarını falan bildiler. Decolonization diye işte. Decolonization diye şu müstemlikten kayıtıp özünü yaş. Eğer o da şu imperiyanın yan bakısını olsa, öyle eğer olmasa la yaş. Mesela Hindistan, Pakistan, ya ki Algeria yerinde kadar Afrika Hongkong devletleri. Şuna hoş. Yani birisi ama şu halkara kanun başarı self-determination diye özün tadını öz belgeleşti. Bu halkara kanun başarı şu bölgecilikle olamayacaklar. Halkara kanunda bölgecilik. Şu an eğer özanlarına tadını özanla belgelesenler, lakin özanın autonomiya, hukumiya ki başka lakin bu devletin ayrı çıkış bu adırca olmayla başka. Üçüncüsü hem de bu şu özün tadını öz belgeleşti. O da bu diktatör hakimiyetler kararında şu demokratiya asasında eğer arkanda bir devlet ya ki arkanda bir hakimiyet, demokratik hakimiyet kuralsa şunun asasında özünün tadını öz belgeleştiğinde işte yoldan hal kılışlar. Bu kişi onu gösterdi. Anlakin bu şu Tayland'daki bulutma şu halkı kurullar, Mongolia falan diyende doğru kaldır. Şu Tayland'daki handa değişmiş işte doğru handa dedi. Siyasi usul. Siyasi usul arkalı diyende şu Tayland'daki devamlı değişmiştir. Her kanda bir millet özünün tadını öz belgeleşke hukuk veriş. İkincisi kanuni yüzünde. Kanuni yüzünde dediğimiz yani şu Birleşmiş Devletler Teşkilatı degende teşkilatlarının payında bu Xitayda kol koygan belediyenin insanlık hukuk kitapnaması demesinden Amerikan o siyasi ve ictimai hukuk kitapnaması yakın kol koygan degendeki muşyla arkalık muştanın Xitay hükümetini emilleştirişle kol koyup icra kılışla hem şu hukuklarını asanlık milletlerge yapıştırmış. Vekil boğan Uygurlar, Tibet'ten Mongolia şu an halkaralık teşkilatlarının belediye ya ki başka teşkilatlarına Xitay'da değişmiştir. Muşyla sunmuştur. Teklif verdi. Anladım. Şu. Rəfirəndum.
By international law would be
İkincisi hem de yeni efendim şu öz takımı öz belirleşti onu halkalar kanunu sürer.
Coming right now, I will not hold you as long and make you stop. And this should take a long time to give you clear cut, explanation and give you clarification on those issues. And but
müstakil bo'lish, biz hech qanday davlatni mustaqilligi qilmagan, biz xalqning yerini besib olmagan, shunaqa bu o'zim taqdirimni o'zi belgilash avtonomiya bo'lsa, lekin mustaqillik bermaymiz, bermaydi. Shunga hozirgi shu mayli belgilagan shu kitobnomlari yoki shartnomalarga yoki qonunlarga asoslanib yoki Xitoyning hozirgi asosli qonunlariga asoslanib hozir ikkinchisi bizga hozir biz mustaqillikni so'zlayotgan bo'lsak, hozir holatda bu sharoitlar yo'q dedi, qonuniy asosi yo'q dedi. Mayli Xitoyning asosiy qonuni bo'lsa yoki belgilagan qonun asosi. Endi birdan bir yo'l bo'lsa qiladi. Xitoyda bunda bir istiqlol o'rnini yo'qotmaguncha bu xalq bu mumkin emas o'g'illarda. O'zining mustaqilligini to'g'ri so'zlash, o'zining taqdirini o'zi belgilash yoki o'zining asosiy qonunlari to'g'ri so'zlash bu mumkin emas. Shunga birdan bir Xitoy kompartiyasini yo'q qilish, Xitoy kompartiyasini yo'qotmaguncha bu diktatorlik yo'qotmaydi. Xitoyda hozir hokimiyat yo'qotmaguncha har qanday millatdan mustaqil bo'lishi, o'zining taqdirini o'zi belgilashi mumkin emas. Asosan shu.
Ya özür katılmazsın.
Tibet'ten bayramı bağışladı. Çünkü Tibet'ten kısaca şu insanlar okutağını söyleyebildi. Xitoy hükümeti 1949 yılda Tibet'ne resmi kirgenden bu yana ki aldıkça 12 milyon Tibet'li her xil sebep, her xil qalpa, her xil atılmış cinayetlerden ötürü. Hem de xalqaro kechirim teşkilatının bildirişi doğrultularda qaraganda hozir Tibet'te 600'dan ortiq siyasi mərkəzlər olan hamda o'zimizda 11 yoshli bolalar anchalarni Beijing tarafdan ajtimoiy uyda tutmoqda. Hamki nurg'un Tibetliklar Tibetning bayramini ko'targanga, Yapon Dalay Lama'ning rasmiy ko'targanga ulanishtirmoqda. O'ylayman biz Uyg'ur bilan Tibet bilan Mongol bilan biz Xitoyning ostida ezildik, bizning taqdirimiz o'xshash, taqdirdosh. Hamda ba'zi chog'da Xitoylar deydi, biz Xitoydan ezilyapmiz, Xitoy hukumati kommunistning ostida, sizlar ezilsang u nima farqi qilsa, o'zingni xotirjamlikka madatimiz mustaqilligimiz deb tushunsa. Bu nima shunday qilsa? Desa, men ikki sabab bor. Birinchisi, Xitoy hukumati bizning kimligimizni tanımaydi. Biz o'zimizni Uyg'ur, biz o'zimizni Tibet deb o'zimizning huquqini shu joriy qildirsa, bular sen millatchilik qildim, buni qildim deb ochiq qotdi, sizu joylaydi. Ikkinchi deydi, Xitoy hukumati bizning o'zimizning taqdirini o'z belgilashga qat'iy boshini oxir yo'l qo'ymaydi dedi. Shunga bizning ayrim bilan o'xshamaydi. Biz chunki bizning o'zimizning siyosiy taqdirimizni belgilash huquqimiz yo'q dedi. Shu bizning taqdirimiz. Lekin bunga endi qanday bir usullar bor, bir taraf qilgan edi. Endi hozir bizning qilishimiz bor edi. Hozir mana shunga o'xshash bizning fursatlarni g'animat bilib, ularni to'liq bayonlab, endi shu o'zimizning davosini xalqaro kamaytirish, xalqlarga bildirish, xalqlarga tushuntirish kerak. Ya'ni ikkinchisi bundan so'ng lekin birlik bo'lib shu dahi yoki bir yetakchilikda birlik bo'lish kerak. Bo'lib bizning ta'limimizga bizning Dalay Lama bor, bizning yetaklar ma'muriyatdan Dalay Lama bor. Hammamiz qo'llaymiz, biz o'rnisiz yurishni hayotda shu an biz keyingi yo'laymiz. Shunga bizning davarimiz xalqaro mushlar kuchaygan, cho'mib ketgan xalqaro nurg'un odam bizning keyinimizda bizga himoya qilib, bizga yordam qildi. Hozir qarab baxsak deydi, mana shu Mongollar qandaqki Mongollar endi Mongol tashqi Mongol mustaqil bo'lsin, ichki Mongolda hozir buni rasmiy bir yetakchi bir dohisi yo'q. Endi Tayvanliklarni o'zi ham bo'lsa, yaqinda tushungan bo'ldi bular. Endi Uyg'urlar kelganda hozircha bunda rasmiy bir Uyg'ur bir boshdan oxir vakili bo'lib chiqdi. Endi mening eng chong umid tutuman o'sha erkin olib kelgan hokimimiz. O'sha erkin olib kelgan hokimimiz Uyg'urlarning dohisi bo'lib, Uyg'urlarning yetakchisi bo'lib, Uyg'urlarga yo'l boshlasa, chunki erkin olib kelgan hokimimizning odamlar burun Uyg'urlarning vakili ishlagan, shundan bevosita tutash, shundan boshqa erkin olib kelgan Uyg'urlarga vakillik qilib Uyg'urlarga yo'l boshlasa, Uyg'urlarga yo'l boshlasa, qolganlar egasa, Uyg'urlarning davosini Xudoyim bo'lsa, Tibetliklarning qo'lida yaxshi bo'ladi. çağda Uygurlar bir avazda, birlikte, bir ittifaqda, bir dairənin keyində mansa, Uygurların davası davamlı Tibet'in kendi Tibet'ten oxşaş xalqarada, mağda xalqara cəmiyyət onu yox, kendi himayə qıldı, yardım qıldı. Yəni üçüncü dəfə ötürən nəsə bu şu, olub mu, həm də Xitaylar nə olsun, bular mı Xitay xalq mı, Xitay kompartiyası yazı vaxtı, həm də bularga müstəqil olmamız, bunu bilmemiz desək, bular düşünməydi, bilməydi. Həm də bularga birdən-bir qılған iş, bular tərbiyələşdi, düşündürüşlər, bularını öz insanlarının tərbiyə kötürüş kerak. Olub mu abaydan yaxın soya degəndək, xanso desə, mən xanso emas degəndəklə, bu xansolarmı səlamı özü ayrım. Yəni olub mu bəzi sözlərə, ibarələr gələn çağda, bununla siyasi ibarələr olğanın üçün, bunun üçün də diqqət qilish kerak. Şuna məsələn, Tibet degən çağda, məsələn xansoçı Şizang deyil, Tibet. Əməliyyat bu Şizang degən fəqət Tibet'in bir qismi olan gözü, bir qismi ahalisi. Şuna Tibetlik buluş kerak, Şizang'ın buluş kerak. Şuna məndə bağlanan üçün, bunu Xitaylar düşündürüş kerak. Müştaq qısa, anikin xalqarada davanımız kəmiydi, xalqarada qollaydıqan adam çıxdı. Anikin Xitay ülkəsindən bir gündən bir ittifaqlaşıb bir avaz sözsək, Xitay integrasiyasını kesinlikle tələyiməz. Yəni özümüzün siyasi tərəfini özümüz bəlgələyimiz.
I want to talk to you about problems of ethnicity in general, across the world, globally. We have heard some very interesting legal discussions today about UN and human rights organizations, but I want to talk about reality. And the reality of the world is that people who are oppressed and unhappy do not look at international law or other regulations. If they are unhappy, they simply demand change and they take change into their own hands. This is why we have histories of revolutions and separatism throughout a great deal of history. Now, let me be frank. I think it is preferable for nations and states to be multi-ethnic, if possible. If possible. Why shouldn't we have a Soviet Union? Why shouldn't we have a China? If the ethnic groups of the Soviet Union or China lived in a good society with good economy and good governments, then there would be no problem if their own ethnic aspirations were able to be met inside those societies. But the fact is, in these two states, Soviet Union and China, and many others as well, Yugoslavia, other dictatorships of many kinds, ethnic groups and human rights have been crushed. So therefore, revolution has been, or separatism has been the answer for these people. But ideally, if Moscow could have wonderful government, good economy, good human rights, then we would have a Soviet Union even today that would be a successful nation. But that has not been the case. Now, looking logically at this question, who has a right to a nation or to independence? There is no law that gives everyone a right to independence. Indeed, many people say, well, this group is too small, or there's no difference between Serbs and Croats and Bosnians, the language is the same, so they should be together under one government. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very simple. Each people decides for itself what is the people. And they cannot be told, well, your language is not different enough, or you speak only a dialect, so you have no right. This is not important. It's what I think, or what you think your people is. You will act on that basis. So each nation will decide for itself. Now, a second objection that we hear frequently is that, well, if every national group, if every ethnic group wanted to be independent, then we would have maybe 500, instead of 200 countries, we would have 500 countries, 1,000, 1,500 countries, nation states in this world. I think, frankly, this is a possibility in the future if bad government continues. Because for me, the question of good governance is the question of deciding separatism or non-separatism. If this is a warning for every government in the world, including the United States if necessary, that if people are not happy and not satisfied living within that kind of government, then they will seek to change or to leave. So all nations, I'm not blaming just China or just Russia, but all nations have to recognize this obligation to either give good governance to your people and satisfy minority aspirations and language and culture, or else you will lose control. Now, what can governments do about this? They have two choices. One is you can bring in a Mao Zedong or a Saddam Hussein, and they will keep the country together. They can do this. They are capable of doing this, as we know, unfortunately, or Stalin. But in this 21st century, we know this is not a formula for success as a nation. Nobody wants to travel. Nobody wants to have tourism to these countries. Nobody wants to do business with these countries. They are become international pariahs within the international order if they run such kind of dictatorial and ruthless systems. So in the long run, holding a nation together by force is not a formula for success. That country is doomed to disastrous economy and isolation. The other answer is simply then to try to give to your minorities what they seek. And if you cannot give it for one reason or another, then you must be prepared for independence. Now, what will we do if we have many more and more and more independent nations? I don't think this in the future world has to be a major problem. I have one hypothesis. I may be wrong, I may be right, who knows. But I think there is a cycle here, a cycle of independence, of nations breaking apart and coming together again under different forms and different kinds of borders in the future. Frankly, I think most multi-ethnic states in this world today are threatened with breakup. Most. Because I don't see governance that is good enough. A state like India, maybe because of enough democracy, maybe India will survive in this kind of situation, but it depends on the Indian government. But I talk about a breakup and coming together again. If we have bad governance, individuals and peoples will fight forever to try to gain this kind of independence. Moscow, after 300 years of struggle with Chechens, still has not learned what the Chechens want, which is a very simple thing. It's a very simple thing. And it's the same with so many of the peoples today in China. Why do governments fail to understand this problem and get the message? Now, I would argue, if nations can be given autonomy or independence, some degree of independence, how will they survive in a future world? Today, I think, with globalization, smaller nations can survive much better than they did before. Europe is actually breaking apart into smaller groups and smaller ethnics, Scots and Welsh in England, or Basques or Catalans in Spain, or Corsicans and Bretons in France. So this is a worldwide process. It's affecting all countries and even may affect the United States in one way or another. In Canada, we see today Quebecans wanting Quebecois, seeking to have independence in Canada. Now, if we do have independence in these states, I suggest that there is a Saturday night and Monday morning for these small groups. Saturday night, as at least in the United States, we celebrate, you go out, you drink, you sing songs, you celebrate your independence, your flag, your national anthem, your passport, your new stamps that you have. But Monday morning, you have to get up and go to work. How will a small nation under these circumstances face the realities of an international world? I suspect that nations who have gained their independence will quickly seek to come together with other small or big peoples, but this time on a voluntary basis. You cannot keep people by force, but if you can have a voluntary basis for unification with contracts signed and agreements freely negotiated, then it's possible for these countries to come back together. There might be a Soviet Union again in the future. As I say, if Moscow has wonderful government and good economy and a beautiful country to live in, Chechens will ask to be part of Moscow. Or Uyghurs may say to Beijing, we would like to be part of this wonderful experiment because everybody wants to join China. Just as we see in Europe today, the Turks, the Bulgarians, and the Serbs, and the Latvians are saying, can we join this European experiment because it looks very good. It's free, it's democratic, it's prosperous. So there is a formula here. I am happy if nations will come together and live together. This makes a more rich state with many languages, many cultures, many restaurants. But if you can't, it must come together on a voluntary basis. So to me, I'm not frankly even interested only in international law. The international lawyers must put together the package to make this possible. But people will decide what they want or what they don't want and will react to oppression where they see it. But my hope is that even if we break apart and nations come apart, there will be new, successful magnet states, magnet nations, which will attract, because of their success, will attract people back into their orbit. The United States could be one. Europe, we know, is one. Other countries in the world, if they are successful and prosperous with good governance, will also attract. I don't know if Beijing is capable of this or not. But if not, then perhaps we will have new organizations, new nation states, multi-ethnic states, perhaps based in the center of Central Asia, where countries have come together voluntarily and not under the current neo-Stalinist dictatorships that we see in so many of these places. So I am hopeful for the future. I think it is very clear that holding together nations by force is not the wave of the future. It is not a success. Therefore, success will be with you, the smaller nations now, who are struggling to define yourselves, and I wish you luck. Thank you.
Xalqaro qonun qarsa o'zingni mustaqil bo'lsang bo'lmaydi, o'zingni taqdirini o'zing belgisang bo'lmaydi deganlarga. Lekin zulm ostida yashagan millat, zulm ostida yashagan xalq bu xalqaro qonunni manda deb qarab o'tirmaydi deb. Qo'lga qoral chiqsa oldi, hokimiyat og'dirib tashlasa, og'dirib tashladi, mustaqil bo'lsa, mustaqil bo'ldi. Ammo har qanday millat o'zining taqdirini o'zi belgilashi kerak. Bu Jahongir belgilamaslik kerak, diktator belgilamaslik kerak. Ana o o'zining taqdirini har bir millat o'zining taqdiri qanday bo'lishi shuni o'zi belgilashi kerak. Chunki zulm ostida yashagan xalq çok mushkul. Masalan, agar bunday masalan sevgi ittifoqi bo'lamda Xitoy sevgi ittifoqi agar har qanday bir davlatning qochilishi yoki birla turishni hukumat belgilaydi. Agar hukumat zolim bo'lsa, har qanday xalq, har qanday millat bo'lishi qoladi. Agar hukumat yaxshi bo'lsa, obdon bo'lsa, o xalqlarning o'zining huquqidan to'liq barkamol bo'lib, o'zining kelganlarini to'liq o'zining bo'lishini xohlamaydi. Masalan, ba'zi obdon misollar bor. Masalan, Amerikani misol olsak, qayerda bo'lishlik bo'ladi. Yo'q, hukumat yaxshi. Masalan, agar Moskva bir yaxshi hükümet bo'lgan bo'lsa, Sovet İttifaqı parçalangan bo'lar edi. Balki chunki ular nachar hükümet azaldan besib keldi. Masalan, Chechenlarni bostirdi, ularni o'tkazdi, hamnasi qildi. Lekin zo'rlik kuchdan bundan keyingi bo'lib mushasirdan bilan u zo'rlik kuchi tayini haqni bir yerga baqlab qo'yish mumkin emas edi. Masalan, Maudan o'xshash, Stalin o'xshash yoki Saddam Hussein o'xshash bir davlatni diktatorlik kuchidan besib turish mumkin bir vaqtda. Lekin u o'zini davomlashmaydi. Bugungi bu asarda. Chunki unda diktatorlik bilan bir davlatni boshqarsa, hech qanday davlat ular bilan so'z qilishni xohlamaydi, ularning davlatdan diktoba munosabat qilishni xohlamaydi, ularni e'tirof qilishni xohlamaydi. Shunday. Hozir endi xalqaro qonun nimasi uchun fakt shuki, reallik shuki, zolim ostida yashagan millat o'zining taqdirini o'zi belgilashga mushatamdi, mustaqil bo'ladi. Endi ba'zilar o'ylaydi, agar hamma millat dunyodagi hamma millat, hamma guruh o'z oldiga mustaqil bo'lib olsa, dunyoda 5000 davlat paydo bo'lmaydi yoki jihat. Buni qanday qilamiz? Bu qanday bo'lsa bo'lmaydi, balki yaxshiroq. Hozir xalqaro Bunga qarsak, iqlimga qarsak, kichik davlatlar ro'naq deb boy bo'lib, o'zining ishini o'zi obdan qilib, mashina kamaydi hozir davlatlarda. Masalan, ba'zi kichik davlatlar bor, shunda cho'ng davlatlar o'zining ishini o'zi boshqara olmaydi, shunda qilmaydi. Cho'ng davlatlarda o'sha bo'lgunchilik jihat. Masalan, Hindiston tarafı Kashmirda so'qish bo'ldi, qolgan yerlarda so'qishlar bor. Hamda Endi yana bir seriyada ham muhimi mustaqillikni o'zining taqdirini o'zi belgilashni adam shuncha tashna bo'ldi, shunda bo'ldi. Lekin shu kuni kelgan chaqda adam mustaqil bo'lib, O'rta Osiyo davlatlarini biz ko'rib qildik. Ash mustaqil bo'lgan kuni qo'shal bo'lib, o'zining bayrog'ini chiqarib, o'zining yangi pasportini chiqarib, o'zining yangi tamg'asini chiqarib, hayajonli kuni shanba kuni kashni berib, chiqsa ish bilib, dushanba kuni nima qilishni o'qimay yurganda deydi. Shunga buni to'liq tayyor bo'lish kerak. Endi mustaqil bo'ldik, endi qanday qilamiz? Endi o'zimizning davlatni qanday boshqaramiz? O'zimizning taqdirini qanday belgilaymiz? Agar biz mustaqil bo'ldik degan bilan, masalan, o'zining davlatida yana nurg'un boshqa millatlar bo'lishi mumkin. Ular u chaqda bizning o'zimiz ayrim davlat quramiz, biz ayrim avtonomiya quramiz. Buni talab qilish mumkin. Shu chaqda ularga masalan o'z oldiga berish kerak bergan narsani, yana yaxshi diktatorga o'xshash zo'rlik qarab tushishga tayinib bu davlatni boshqargan deyish mumkin emas. Agar shu guruhlar sening bir qismini bo'lma desa, u chaqda shayton buzash kerak. Shu orqali ana shu davlatni ustun turish kerak. Agar ular boshdan chiqmasa, ular o'zining ixtiyori. U chaqda zo'rlik kuchlar bilan bo'lmaydi. Mushu aniqkim. Masalan, agar shu mayli Sovet İttifaqı bo'lsin, mayli Xitoy bo'lsin, agar bularning o'rni shunday yaxshi bo'lsa, masalan, hozir Yevropa birga o'xshash, masalan, Turkiyaga o'xshash davlat, Bolgariyaga o'xshash davlatlar bir qism bo'lib Kirgiz bor, masalan. Shunga kirsa, shunga nurg'un imtiyozlar bor, mayli siyosiy bo'lib, iqtisodiy bo'lib, qolgan jihatda nurg'un jihat foydalanib bo'ldi, o'z davlatining taraqqiyoti rostdan bo'ldi. Agar shu Xitoy hukumati ayni vaqtda shunday yaxshi bo'lgan bo'lsa, balki Checheniston, Rossiyaning, Xitoyning bir qismi, Sovet İttifaqıning bo'lsa Rossiyaning bir qismi bo'lishi uchun da tashna taqasa bo'lishi mumkin. Uyg'urlarning bilan boshqarma agar Beijing bilan nahaydi. Qoldan bo'lib bir muloqot ketganmiz. Balki bir bo'lishi bo'lishi mumkin. Shunda endi uzunga xalqaro qonun nima bo'lsa bo'lsin, bir millat o'zining siyosiy, tarixiy ashi vaziyatiga qarab o'zining taqdirini o'zi belgilash kerak. Agar mustaqillik uchun kurash qilish kerak, agar avtonomiya uchun kurash qilish kerak, lekin xalqaro qonun mandatlari uning mandatlari deb qilishning, deb uning va parvoyini bo'lishning hojati yo'q. Lekin Oniki bu asrda zo'rlik bilan bir davlatni tutib turish mumkin. Shu qochinish mumkin. 1000 davlat paydo bo'ldi, 100 davlat paydo bo'ldi, ko'p ham oz ham. Buni qarshi qildi. Buni muvaffaqiyatga erishish. So'zim qismayapman.
Finally breaking for lunch.
Because when another nation looks at you and says, human rights, they cannot say, no, these people are wrong. They cannot say these people are revolutionary. Because human rights is what you need to go for. Let me tell you guys a little secret here. Americans don't care. Americans don't care. You guys need to make them care.
That's right.
country. Unless you tell them what to do, they are not going to do it. Americans are lazy. You need to combine your resources. You need to combine your lobbying skills. Because alone you are one, but when you guys join together, you are four. And one can be written off saying these guys are telling the truth, but four is a trend, and you can't ignore a trend. You need to take your coalition, and you need to figure out what works. You need to find what will make people care. You need to look back at history. You can look at the 60s, the American 60s, with all kinds of social changes happening. You can look and say, what did these people do to get Americans? So they cared about the causes. And then you need to figure out, how does that apply today? How does that apply to Americans that cared solely about money? Because money is the key to America. Money is what drives power in America. You need to get to the stockholders. You need to get to the corporations.
At that point, the people of East Turkestan can have a referendum to decide whether they want state independence. And the democratic government of China will permit that.
Şu bayırmen tercih kalan şekildeki yeni şuar bilen, şu şuar asasında demokratça oylanan Xitaylar bilen birleşip hazırki Xitay devletiyle demokratik bir tüzüm ornatılsa, komünistik Xitay tüzümü ağdırıp taşınırsa, onun denki ikinci basmış olan sizlerinin müstakillik talablarını asanırak əməlgə aşırılan yeni demokratik bir tüzüm payda bulundu. Bunun için sizler bu gaye maqsadlarını əməlgə aşırılan asan bulundu.
And then, if the people of East Turkestan freely choose democracy and independence, you have an independent state. That's the next phase of history. That's the next phase of history. And let me perhaps you could just say that. I want to
Demokratik bir Xitay devleti çiğralarının içinde, hazır Xitay çiğralarının içinde, demokratik bir tüzüm oluşturduğundan değil, şarkı Türkistan kalıp umumi avaz, referandumda yapılıyor. Umumi avaz bilen demokrasiya istemiyor, müstakillik istemiyor, başka bir devlet şekli istemiyor. Şunu erkin avaz bilen, halkın avaz bilen tallap alsa, onun için tarihinin ikinci basıncı başlanır doğru.
And the advantage of doing this in two phases, strategically, the strategic advantage, stage one, stage two, is that if you take the approach I'm suggesting in stage one, all the democracies will support you. And all the Han Chinese who want democracy will support you also. They will support you. You will have that kind of broad unity in phase one. And you have a, whereas in the, yes.
Ben iştiharda ötken stratejik taktikten işletir. Başta demokrasiya degan bo'lmasanlar, sizlar birinci dünyadaki demokratik güçlerinki himayesini almışlar. İkinciden demokratik oylanan Xitaylarning himayesini algan bo'lsizlar ve bunun bilan öz maqsadlarga erishish uchun muhim bir qadamni tashlagan bo'lsizlar.
And the recent example is Czechoslovakia. After the democratic transition, the Slovaks said, we want our own state. There was a referendum, and peacefully, you have the Czech Republic and the Slovak Republic. And everyone, all the democracies supported it, and everyone lived peacefully, happily ever after. Compared to the terrible example of secession and the former Yugoslavia and 10 years of tragic warfare.
Bunu canlı misal kılıp yakın tarihteki yani ötken 7-8 yılına yakın Şarkı Avrupa ve Balkan rayonunda olan iki misalını ko'rsatdi. Birinchisi burungi Chexoslovakiya deb atalgan ikki xalqning birlashtirilgan davlatning Sovet ittifoqi parchalangandan keyin o'zaro demokratik tuzum kelgandan keyin o'zaro o'tirib biz birlik turamdik, Chek va Slovak xalqi yoki ajrashib ketamiz degan masalani ustalda o'tirib muzokara qilib birlik yashashga kelishmaganlikdan tinch yo'l bilan yana muzokara orqali ajrab ketganligini, buningda hech qanday qarshi bo'lmaganligini va hozir shu territoriyada ikki davlatning Chek Cumhuriyati va Slovakiyada Cumhuriyatidan kelganligini misol ko'rsatdi. Buni yaxshi misol, ijobiy misol ko'rsatdi. O'zininki ko'rsatishga tavsiya qilgan yo'liga. Ikkinchi tarafdan bundaq o'zaro shu muzokara yo'li bilan ajralmagan va ishni hal qilmagan burungi Yugoslaviyani, ya'ni 5 Cumhuriyatdan tam bo'lsa 5 ayrim xalqdan vujudga kelgan burungi Yugoslaviya Cumhuriyatining o'zaro urushib 100 minglarcha insonning qon to'kilib turmush iqtisodiy harakatda yerda bo'lgan o'tganlardagi qon to'kish hodisasi bunga salbiy ya'ni bu yo'lni tutsanlar boshqa yo'lni tutgan bo'lsa bundan nimalar ziyonli voqealar bo'lganligini misol
And I have just two more brief thoughts. I think it is important for you strategically to consider this. Also, we don't know when this will happen, that you have the opportunity for real democracy, autonomy, your human rights, the Uyghurs have them. We don't know when. We don't know what Russia will be like. And you may want for a time to stay in a democratic China and be safer in a democratic China than if there were an ultra-nationalist or aggressive or neo-communist Russia. So you don't know. That's another strategic reason why that may be something we look at when the time comes. It's difficult. I will. I'm writing a book on the United States, Russia, and China now. So I'm very involved with both countries, Russia and China. What I said was a second strategic reason why you may wish to consider the two-stage movement toward independence is because we don't know when this will happen. But the Uyghurs will have human rights and democracy. Is it 2 years, 5, 20? We don't know. When that time comes, we also don't know what Russia is. Russia neo-communist? Is it an ultra-nationalist dictatorship? Do the Russians want to, in fact, take a small independent state and take you back in a dictatorship? We don't know. So you may want, in fact, to stay in a democratic China that will respect fully your autonomy, like Switzerland is the example. The French, the Italians, the German, the Romansh, all respect it. You may want that.
Ben teklif olan iki basmışlık yolunu tanılap gelişimlerden stratejik noktayı nazarda tarafında yeni bir ihtimalının yaxşı sebep oluşu mümkün. Bu da sizler 1 yılda mı, 5 yılda mı, ya 10 yılda mı ben teklif olan yolunu tutsamla şunda bir şarayetinin kaç yılda böyle keldiğini anlayamayasaydı. Şu şarayet bulgan vaxtda sizlərə tarix yığınlar oxuyan və bir neçə qism sizlərin müstəqillik hərəkətlərinə yaman təsir etdirilən Rusiyanınki şu bizə müstəqillik elə bulgan vaxtımızda Rusiyanın qandaq şəraitdə, qandaq iyi olduğunu bilməyimiz lazımdır. Belki o vaxtda demokratik bir Rusiya yığınlar oluşu mümkün, ya ki komünistik, ya ki əşədli millətçi, ırqçı çıxılıb qandaq olduğunu bilməyimiz. Əgər deyildir, şundaq bir şərait olğanda agresif təcavüzlər, bununla oxşaş sizlərin davanılar xiyanət qılğan və sizlərin bəlkə besib özünü qoşulandığan bir Rusiya oturuq çıxıb qaldığan bolsa, şu vaxt siz sizlar ularninki hujumidan, tajovuzdan saqlanish uchun balki ma'lum muddat Uyg'ur xalqi to'liq muxtoriyat, to'liq avtonomiya huquqi doirasida Xitoy bilan birga turishinglar mumkin. Buni Xitoy bilan birga turishning foydasi sizlarga, Xitoy sizlarni buning tajovuzidan saqlab qola oladi.
The last thought. In 1989, in October 1989, the communist regime in Germany was coming apart. In October 1989, the communist regime in Germany was coming apart. I had lunch with Chancellor Kohl in Germany, and he told me, as he looked to the future, that when the communists were away from East Germany, with 17 million people, West Germany with 60 million people, would not take East Germany back into the German state. No. That West Germany would ask the people of East Germany, ask them to vote and decide, do you want to be part of West Germany? Do you want to be part of a unified Germany? So even a state that had existed, the democratic spirit is not one of taking back, but rather one of self-determination where the people make their own decision. And Chancellor Kohl followed exactly the steps of letting East Germans vote democratically, and they said, we want to go back, and then they were reunited. So even in a former existing state, the process was in two stages. Removing communism, getting democracy first, stage one, stage two, asking the people, do they want to be part of the state or do they want to remain as self-determination? So it's a little bit of a metaphor.
Ko'rsatdi 1989 yili burungi GDR deb atalgan kommunist sharqiy Germaniya tuzum hukumat Sovet ittifoqida glasnost jarayoni boshlangandan keyin yig'ilib quloq tushish arabisida bo'lgan vaqtda man G'arbiy Germaniya kansler deymiz yerdan devletlik boshqaruvchining cho'ng rahbariyati uchun Helmut Kohl bilan birga tamoq yedim, egizlikda bo'ldim. Shu vaqtda Helmut Kohlninki menga degan so'zini sizlarga aytmoqchiman deydi. Bu kishi birinchidan ya'ni Sharqiy Germaniya kommunist tuzumuning oldirilishini ve aldırılışı için işledi. Aldırılışı işleyiniz ve o aldırılgandan keyin ve iyada demokratik bir şerait kuruldu. Bu demokratik şerait kurulgandan keyin şu Sharqiy Germaniya halkını burun bir devlet olan, bütün bir devlet olan, bütün Germaniyaga, yani bunun garbi kuruluştan keyin G'arbiy Germaniya bo'lgan, Sharqiy Sovetlarga bağlı Sharqiy Germaniya bo'lgan. Şu halkını biz o'zimizdan so'raymiz. Sizlar hangi demokratik şerait kuruldu, biz bilan birlashamizlar yoki bundan ayrılib qolamizlar deb so'raymiz. Şu halkning fikri asosida qanday ovoz bersa shu shaklda harakat qilamiz dedi ve shunday bo'ldi. Xalq orasida referendum o'tkazildi. Xalqning ko'pchiligi biz burungisida bir German xalq bo'lamiz, bir butun German davlati bo'lamiz deb ovoz berdi. Bundan keyin ularning orzusi bilan Germaniya birlashdi. Demak, demokratiya degan vaqtda demokratik ve şu diğerler ulaşması İslam'daki düzgün şekilde bertaraf olacak hükümetler bunu
I know how the Uyghur people have suffered in the 20th century under the communist regime of the Soviet Union and the communist regime of China. And I hope your efforts will help bring a new day of freedom to Uyghur people. Thank you very much for letting me meet with you and speak with you.
Ben 20. asırda Uygur halkının Sovet İttifakı ve Xitay Halk Cumhuriyeti'nin tüzümleri, ularning hükümranlık tarafından qanday zulümga duchor qilganligi, qanday qiynalganligi, qanchalik qurbon berganligini yaxshi bilaman. sizler bilen bildirmen sizlerin davanılağa ve sizlerin bunun keyin kılgan birleşip kılgan hareketlerin ki Uygur halkının beşilik külfetine, yazı zulümüne yoktu. Azad erkin buluşuğa, yes koşuğa, işinime.
Halkın gücü. Şərqi Türkistan halkının hürriyet ve azadlık için çıkıyanı. Bütün hayatını muş mücadeleke atılan adam. Ataş başka. Çıkılış başka. Çıkıyandı mı neticeye eriş başka. Çıkıp etkanda fidakarlık bilen hizmet kılış bu başka. Fakat fidakarlık köp ketken vaktida enindeki muvaffakiyet kazanır. Bulak mı? Baklaşkan alda vatan için, vatanın istiklal için fidakarlık köp etse enindeki büyük muvaffakiyet kazanır.